Sentire Media.
All right, now we're recording. Okay. Thank you for downloading and listening to the podcast from Italy. I'm Jason. Ashley's over there. A beautiful 5 October here in Piobico, and this is take 2.5.
Yes, it is.
Take 1 was awesome. We were riffing. We were rolling.
It was probably the best podcast we've ever done.
My jokes were landing.
It was gold. We
had energy.
So much energy. The stories were so vivid.
We talked into the microphones for a solid hour.
Solid hour.
I looked down to hit stop when we put them down, and we got low battery at 20 minutes. So on our Tascam DR40 linear PCM recorder, when it gets to low battery, it stops recording. And my job as engineer, I'm chief engineer here at Podcast from Italy, and my job is to make sure that the recording gets done and put up, and Ashley tags it and does all her social. I was not wearing my monitoring headset, so I didn't know that the thing cut out.
He will be beaten severely.
I will be beaten this afternoon, don't worry.
So, good luck with this version. I feel like it's not going to be nearly as good.
Probably not.
But we'll try.
Today is 5 October. It is now, holy crap, 10:15 in the morning.
We started this hours ago.
This is procrastination, and this is what gets you. This is what happens when you don't have real jobs.
No, but we have a lot to cover. Our last podcast was August 25th, and it's October. So September was... I was going to say busy month, but for us it was busy because we actually had guests.
Busy? We didn't do shit.
We went on a couple road trips. We had one of my friends come and stay.
One of your friends come for a week.
And we had a good lunch.
I wouldn't call that busy.
I wouldn't really either. We've realized also, by the way, that our lives revolve around lunch.
Now they do.
I know.
We have cultivated mass this summer, and now it's time to stop cultivating and start harvesting. No one really bulks up over the summer.
We did.
We
decided to bulk up,
and I'm sure a lot of you who are listening are feeling the same predicament. I hope so. We're all in this together. But we got fat over the summer when normally we run around like crazy and get nice and slim
fit.
And tan. If you can't tone it, tan it.
So Gaggi's right about this autumn explosion of fat. I think. Well, let's jump in.
So at the beginning of September, once all the kids went back to school, we've been hanging around here for quite a while, and we want to go on a little road trip through Italy.
So we were contacted by a Facebook, Instagram friend, fellow expat who's been living in Italy for almost 30 years. And she said, if there's ever a time to come visit the Cinque Terre, come now. She has a bed and breakfast there and has had it for 20 some odd years, I think. And she invited us to come and stay at her lovely place, Villa Valentina. And we thought, you know what? Let's do it. Why not? Out of all the times, let's say yes. Let's say yes. And so she said it was like it was Come Una Volta, like 20 some odd years ago, without the crazy tourists, without the Americans, before Rick Steves. So we loaded up the car, and it's about a 4-hour drive.
4 hours door to door. Exactly.
From our place to Levanto. She lives just the next town north of the 5 famed Cinque Terre villages. She's just past Monterosso and is in Levanto.
We took off early in the morning and decided to break the trip up, stopping in Carrara, which is about 3/4 of the way there. Carrara is famous. You've probably recognized the name for it. It's marble. It's got that beautiful white marble with the gray veins running through it. And
driving up to it too, you were just, as we were getting closer, you're like, are those the mountains? Are those the Marble Mountains? And it was like, yes. And really, Carrara, we've never been. It's always been on our list to check out. Friends have said it was cool. But we were really there with one main objective. It wasn't so much Carrara, but that a teeny tiny village just above it. I don't know, maybe it's 6 kilometers, if that.
Whatever.
Felt like a half an hour drive. And you go past the town and up the hills along with all of the big camions, the big trucks full of marble. And these are not slabs.
No, they're blocks. So Carrara's a working man's town. Like, it's built around this industry. It's you can feel just like it's people who work.
Yeah.
The infrastructure there is perfect, meaning the roads are good and everything's nice because you have this industry that relies on taking these huge, I have no idea how much they weigh. They're giant. It fills the whole back of a huge truck and driving them down the mountain to where the industrial zone is for them to then cut it up and then take it by train to the port where it goes onto ships all over the world. It's really, really interesting. And driving up to Colonnata, you get closer and closer to see how they mine the marble out of the mountain, and they cut it out in these perfect blocks like Jenga, like that Jenga game where you just slide a block out of the mountain. It
is incredible to see and mind-blowing when you start thinking and seeing signs saying, oh, these are Roman quarries. Like the Romans this has been going on forever up there. And just that they knew how to do this, and it felt like we were going back in time.
It's really, really, and there's dust of marble in the air everywhere. I'm sure it's great to breathe, and you can hike. And we didn't have a huge amount of time. So next time we go, I definitely want to go back and take like a guided tour and learn all about the logistics of getting it out and the history of it. It's really,
oh yeah,
really,
we had a lot of questions.
If you're here and you're like, okay, what else is there to do besides see churches and all that? Go to Carrara because it's really interesting. That wasn't our mission this time.
No. What was the objective?
The objection was,
why do we want Colonnata?
Colonnata is famous for its lardo. Yes. Lardo di Colonnata. Lardo di Colonnata is fat from the back of the pig, the neck towards like the first few ribs, right at the top, and it's the best fat of the pig. And then they put it under salt in these marble boxes.
But rubbed with spices.
Rubbed with spices and then under salt. You would then wait about 6 months and then wash it off and slice it paper thin and serve it on like a salami and prosciutto platter. The difference between how they do prosciutto and how they do this lardo is the prosciutto is put under salt for a short period of time, anywhere from a week to 2.5, 3 weeks, depending on the type and the size. Then it is washed off with white wine and hung to cure in a controlled environment, whether it's a cave or whatever. The humidity and temperature is controlled. The lardo, on the other hand, is put under the salt and left there, and it gets kind of watery in there, and the marble does something. I haven't really researched exactly how to do this. The marble does something to promote a good bacteria, flora kind of thing
environment
going on there, and then it gets washed off, and then you just slice it. It is phenomenally delicious, and you think just sliced fat? That's gross. It's not.
No.
It's not. It's phenomenal, and in your mouth for being straight fat, it's not greasy. It's salty enough, but not overly. You can tell that there's spices like different rosemary and garlic and clove and all this different stuff, but it's not overpowering. It's really, really nice.
So we wanted one of the boxes. We tried this years and years ago. I don't remember where, some festival, I'm sure. And it's rare in our area because it's not from here. And so you'll find a few pig farmers who are interested in do their own curing salamis and stuff. And they, everyone kind of takes it to the next level or tries something else.
They'll do lard, but they won't do it in the marble. I have not seen a marble box around here, and I haven't seen them leave it under. They'll cure it in the similar way as prosciutto. Under the salt, wash it, hang it to dry. This is not hung to dry. This is
kept in the box for like 6 months.
6 months. So we got one of these boxes, and I would say it's I don't know the exact. It's not small. It's not big. It's probably like take 4 shoe boxes and put them all together in a cube.
No, like 2.
No, Ash,
I'm looking
it's
at
way
it.
bigger.
Too.
Ash, come on. A shoebox is slightly bigger than... If Ashley gives you weights, measurements, distances, any kind of scale or something...
The first time we did the podcast, the first recording, I thought, okay, this time I'm going to say 2 shoeboxes and I'm going to be right. I'm still wrong.
Ash, now inside, the cavity inside this, it's one piece of marble. You just take a cube and dig it out. So the walls are about 2.5, 3 inches, 5 centimeters, 6 centimeters thick. It's really heavy for the size it is.
And then just a heavy marble lid on top. And tell them how you cure the box. How to prep it.
To prep it, you wash the box out real well, get all the dust and stuff like that, and then you take a whole head of garlic and you cut off the top and you just rub it into the walls and the bottom to season it. Yeah, and
Go ahead.
Something about the garlic has good bacteria that kind of starts off the whole thing.
And then when it comes to the seasonings for the Lardo di Colonnata itself, seems to be like family secrets because each larderia has their own little recipe. A lot of them involved chiodo di garofalo, the clove.
And it's really good. And we went to a little larderia shop off
This town is maybe 200 people.
Yeah, it's tiny. When you get up there, it's teeny tiny. And there's 4 places to get a lardo sandwich in the main piazza, which of course you have to do. And they don't put 2 slices of lard when you get a lard sandwich.
No, they don't put skinny slices.
No, well, the slices are transparent. They're very, very thin, but they put it on like cheese. Like
I thought it looked like cheese on.
But it was delicious.
But it's lard. And it's just a crappy panino like you get everywhere else, but the lard just makes it work. And this is what the workers who would go up to the quarries and, get out the big slabs of stone, this is what they would put in their pocket as they went up and would be their breakfast or lunch. And
you eat one of these, you have enough energy to quarry marble, to dig out marble.
Exactly. So that was really cool.
So I don't know exactly how to do it. I have to do a little bit more research. I got one of the little books on how it's done, and I'll watch a couple YouTube videos, and it's
but definitely worth a stop.
Definitely worth a stop if you're in that area.
Well, all that lard made us hungry. So, and actually we weren't even that hungry, but it's time for lunch. So our road trips, our travels tend to be dictated by our bellies at the same time.
Ashley thinks a vacation means just going to restaurants.
I just think it's eat your way through this next town. So I thought, okay, we're going to be in Carrara. We've been going on when Jason was going to the hospital and a few other trips recently. We've stopped at some of these, what I like to call truck stop diners. Now, it's not really like a greasy spoon diner, but it's like these spots off the autostrada.
Industrial zones
where you get a lot of truckers or you get a lot of the workers and you get a cheap lunch, you eat well. Spendi pochi, mangia bene, spende pochi. Eat well, spend a little. And so I was like, well, let's check out around Carrara. And instead of going into the city center, because who knows where we could park, it's all about the parking, let's check out more of the industrial zone. And sure enough, I just did like Google restaurants or whatever and was reading the reviews and came across one where it mentioned both operai and lavoratori immediately. And those are workers. And where workers go for lunch is where I want to go for lunch. And sure enough, this place was not far from the entrance exit to the autostrada, right kind of on the skirt edge of the industrial zone, and very unassuming from the outside.
You pass it you didn't even realize it's a
No,
restaurant.
we walk in and it was almost a little nice. Like I thought, oh, well, I wasn't expecting tablecloths. and I wasn't sure. I was like, well, I thought this said worker guys. And within minutes of us sitting down, the place started just filling up from retired couples and locals to like the postman coming to eat to all the guys in the orange jumpsuits to the businessmen. And it was like, oh no, this is the spot. And we just got like the menu of the day.
Yeah, so there was a couple of them. We got the most expensive one.
The seafood.
It was €20. Like $20, you ate like a cake. The beautiful pasta, antipasti was really, really nice.
The fish was all cooked perfectly. When we left, it was like, oh my God.
That's going to be the best.
This is going to be the best meal of the trip. Jason was like, you have started off very strong with your restaurant choices. So it's called Osteria da Gloria. If you are ever in Carrara, I would like to go back.
When we go back to Carrara to take the tour, we'll definitely go there for lunch.
For
again.
sure.
It's not unassuming. It's just
$20 for two.
Right.
It was
no,
great.
It's $20 a head.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I don't even know if it was.
Yeah, it was for fish lunch.
Whatever. It was cheap. Then we decided to we were heading to the Cinque Terre, so back in the car and up the coast.
We went a little bit north of where we wanted to be, which was Levanto, to Bonasola. No, we went further than that.
We went just a little further, actually. Scroll in. He's looking at the map.
Oh, there it is. We went here. No?
Divina Marina or something like that. Mm-hmm.
And then took the coast down for a little pretty drive along the coast. This is like these road. No cars really can go into the Cinque Terre. There's a train system that works great, and you can walk or bicycle everywhere. And it's because these roads that follow the coast are no joke. Like, it's not crazy. It wasn't crazy busy with cars. It's just they're turny and they're tight. And if you're driving, you don't get to enjoy the scenery. Those sitting in the passenger seats get to enjoy how beautiful it is.
Without sweaty palms.
I don't get sweaty palms.
It's like, oh my God. So Levanto, we highly recommend. This is where we stayed. Like I said, just one town north, a 4-minute train ride to the Cinque Terre, and it was lovely. We were about a long walk or a short bike ride, 5 minutes outside of the city center, the beach of Levanto.
And I have to say, it was really nice not being down there in the heart of it all, because even though this was supposedly dead, there was plenty.
It was still plenty busy.
It was packed. All the little towns were. And
relatively packed.
For us. It was plenty for me.
Yes.
And it was just nice to have an after dinner, just like Ash said, it's just nice to be just far enough outside where it's quiet and it's.
The place was called Villa Valentina, and it was little apartments, everything you needed. Bikes were perfect. We did the e-bikes and went to Bonasola, the next town north of there, which was 5 kilometers through the old train tunnels.
Never rode an e-bike. The train tunnels were the coolest thing.
That was the coolest. I loved
They
that.
took the old tunnels and made them into walking bike paths, and it's 5 kilometers between the town north of Levanto, Bonasola, and it was just so nice to ride it in the day or in the night. It's cool when it's in the heat of the day.
It's nice and cool.
Tunnels stay cool.
In the evening, it's lit inside. It was really fun, and the e-bikes were awesome.
Okay, e-bikes. I've never ridden an e-bike before. E-bikes, you get the credit of doing exercise by riding a bike all over the place, but without any effort.
Exactly. It would be like, let's kick it on. Tunnel blast through here. It was a kick. I liked it a lot. But now let's get into exploring the 5 famed towns. So we started with Monterosso because it was the next town. First stop on the train.
The 5 of them are Monterosso, Vernazza, Cornelio, and Rio Maggiore.
And Manarola.
And Manarola is at the bottom?
No.
Did I skip it? Mm-hmm. Oh, it's inland a little bit?
No.
Oh.
It's the green dot.
Oh. And they're all in this little kind of, not a cove, but the kind of the coast kind of
comes in
I don't know. Bit. They are very close.
It looks like when you're looking on a map, it could be a bit between them. If you were driving, it could take like 45 minutes to get in between them. If you're taking the train, it's like 4 minutes in between each stop.
And if you're walking them, which is what the main thing to do is hike between all the little villages. Mm-hmm. Which was great. Okay, let's go for a hike.
Yeah, let's hike. I'm down for it.
This is not a vacation hike.
No. This is like I could have a heart attack hike. Make sure to keep an eye on what marker we're at. So in case we need to call for an emergency help. I had read, there's like 3 different ones you could take, the light, medium, and hard. And we were like, we'll definitely do the light one. We haven't done anything this summer, and it just sounds like a nice morning stroll. And it says it's about 2 hours. And I thought, we're good walkers. We walk. Like, we could do this. No problem. Oh my God, I had no idea it was all uphill. I don't even know how an entire walk is all uphill.
It wasn't all uphill, but the thing is, the villages are down
along
the water, and then when you get on the trail, you immediately just start climbing. You have to get into the hills and then follow the coast. So you go in and then come out as the coast comes out, and go in and come down and go in. It's
legit.
It's legit. It is not we're going to go for a walk.
No wonder people make fun of Americans for going in flip-flops. I cannot imagine.
Yeah, this is you have to have the right shoes. You should probably have some water if you're going to do this.
100%.
I don't see how you could take small children or strollers or like it is a hike.
Thankfully, we did it first thing in the morning. There was barely anyone. almost no one on the trail with us, except for one unassuming, unsuspecting couple and ahead of us.
Yeah, they were a little bit younger, a little bit fitter. She had the walking stick thing, so it was like, all right, well, we're racing you now.
Now we have to race. So it's just become the Amazing Race, and you're our number one competition. Because I'd like stop to take a couple pictures, and Jason would be like, they're getting ahead.
Yeah, so I figured if we could keep up with them, we're okay. There was a couple of parts where it's like, every I don't know, a couple of 100 meters, there's you are at post 12, and it was like, all right, this is post 12. You got to call the ambulance because I'm gonna die here. This is
I
no
saw a
joke.
Pregnant lady walking. And I thought, what is she doing?
She was She was sporty spy. She was pregnant, and she was gonna kick that trail's ass.
Oh my god! I just thought.
It's just not if you go there knowing we're gonna hike and prepared, and you like hiking, you'll be fine. But if you go into it thinking, oh, this will be a nice walk while we're on vacation between lunches, no.
I heard horror stories of hilarious horror stories when I started posting some of the pictures on Instagram, and it was like, oh my gosh. So yes, if you're gonna do it, be prepared. Do it early if you can. It's really pretty when you're in there. I mean, the trails,
it's gorgeous.
It's stunning, and the views are gorgeous. But like Jason said, wear the right footwear. It is not paved or proper. I mean, it is a trail, but it is not
flat.
Or
sometimes there's dirt. Sometimes it's just boulders that you're walking on. Sometimes you have to step over like a little stream.
I mean, I was staring down the entire time.
You don't look around. You stare down, looking at where you're going, and the climbing. It's a lot of climbing. So when we were huffing and puffing, we get down into Vernazza, and it was like, oh god, okay, thank God, here's the village.
He's like, I just want to jump. We're going straight to the beach.
I'm going straight to the beach.
And as we're getting into it, he could see it, and he goes, "What the? There's no fucking beach." And he realized the Cinque Terre is not about the beaches.
No. Levanto has one. Monterosso has one.
Bonasola has one.
But they're not beaches, like no running in the water. There's a place to swim, but sometimes you have to climb down rocks to get there. Sometimes it's just like this little place where they launch the boats and you can swim there. It's like, I'm not going to swim where they launch the boats.
And don't forget, in the Cinque Terre, these tiny towns, you're on display because there's so many people there, tourists, all this activity. The little quote-unquote beaches are teeny tiny, and you are on display.
It's just a bunch of people the little towns are packed. There's no beach.
I know. When we got to Manarola later for lunch, we were watching again. This one was just rocks. This was just like huge rocks people were diving off of or sunbathing on. And Italians will find any slab in the sun and put down a towel and lay there for hours.
It's not
comfortable. Claim it. Not comfortable at all.
And my arm's still kind of not 100%, so I don't know if I want to jump into the sea and then have to climb back up rocks to get out.
He's a super strong swimmer, better than I am. But exactly, with the arm, it was like, oh man, this isn't really a good idea.
No. But so that was a bummer.
So it's just like, what the hell?
So all these little towns are what I consider packed. Like, there's not a lot going on in these towns except tourist shops, focaccia places, restaurants, and bars. There's really not a lot of stuff there. You don't get the full appreciation for how quaint and kitschy they are when you're standing inside of them. You have to get onto the sea to look back and see, oh, this is really built into the mountain and the colors of all the buildings. And I don't see any reason staying in one of those places to say you woke up in the Cinque Terre, I guess, but there's not a lot there.
No, and especially if you're looking out at the water from being outside of the Cinque Terre in Levanto to being right in the heart of it in like Vernazza. It's it's the same water you're looking at. But like you said, the best way is to see it from the sea. So you could do the ferry, which is great. Jason kept saying it's not like the Staten Island ferry.
No, it's not a giant ferry. It's a small little ferry, and it's the most economical way to get on the water and see the different towns because you can just get a day pass and kind of just get off and get on. You can, of course, take the train in between the towns, but the train gets packed. The ferry was packed too. The middle of the rangeway is what we did, which was take like a afternoon or sunset cruise with a small group. That was awesome. We lucked
That was
out.
awesome. Jason at first wasn't really down. I think he thought it was going to be super cheesy. An aperitivo sunset cruise isn't normally something we sign up for. But I was like, it's the last night. Let's see it from the sea. This will be great. And it was fantastic.
We lucked out because we were the only. It's boat seats like 12 or 14 people. We were the only people who signed up for it. So
he said the night before was packed, and the next night was sold out. But for some reason, we got lucky.
It was just us. So we stopped, and he let us snorkel, and we stopped it. We drove up the coast, or motored up the coast, and saw each one of the five towns from the sea with the sun, setting in the west and putting the perfect light on all of them. It was really, really nice.
It was.
And then, of course, if you want to be baller, you can charter a boat from any size up to yacht, from tiny little boat to yacht. And
we were daydreaming about it for sure.
Yeah, we saw some. There are yachts. There are definitely yachts there.
Because we spent one day in Bonasola just at the beach and then went to a beach club, just relaxed. The water was really nice.
And Bonasola is not part of the Cinque Terre.
No.
It's north of it.
Mm-hmm. But that's where I would recommend. It felt like It
was just quiet.
It was quiet. There was the little kids running around. It was like families, oldies, and us.
Yeah. Whereas the Cinque Terre was just mobbed with just tons of tourists.
Oh my gosh, and all the selfies and TikTokers.
The TikTokers and the doing it for the gram.
I know. The one chick who kept putting her leg up, and it would just keep getting higher and higher in the photo, and finally Jason was like, she looks like a dog taking a pee. Like, oh my God, what is going on?
Yeah, it's a little... it's a little much when everywhere you turn, it's Insta-worthy and people doing all the things.
Grammy.
I guess it's just the world we live in now.
But it was fun. It was the one thing before it sounds like we're like shitting on the Cinque Terre.
We're not at all.
Okay. But we did say like, what the hell, Rick Steves? Like I grew up on his books and he loves this place and it's sweet, but it's like, okay, great. Let's start exploring some other parts of Italy, Rick. Let's come to the Marche a little bit.
It's extremely touristic there.
But one thing that blew our minds was the pesto. Everyone kept saying, oh, try the pesto, try the pesto. Oh my gosh. All these articles or blogs. I can't get enough of the pesto. And then I added more pesto pasta. And I was just getting so sick of it. And I thought, yeah, I get it. The pesto, fine. Well, we go out to dinner with Paula from Villa Valentina. And she's like, try the pesto. And it was like, fine, we'll try the pesto.
It was awesome.
You guys try the pesto.
It's not like any pesto. It's not like any pesto I've ever had. The olive oil there is really neutral, so it doesn't have that heavy. It's not a paste. It's very fluid. The type of basil they use there is not very overly powerful. That you don't.
I don't know what they.
I don't know what they did. The pesto with trofie is the name of their pasta that they put it on. Try it. It's awesome. It's like no pesto I've ever had.
No, I thought, okay, fine, we'll get some pesto. And then it literally was just like every other freaking blogger that I read, it was like, well, where do we get more pesto? How do I get more pesto at these meals? It was great.
Their focaccia.
Okay, so to me, their focaccia in most of the Cinque Terre towns and the ones that I looked up that we stopped at that had been written about, recommended, whatever, were really soft.
Well, I think their type of focaccia is soft, and it's really greasy with a lot of olive oil. I like crunchy bread.
I did too. Again, Bonasola scored for me with the best focaccia we had.
It was a little more crunchy.
It had a little more crunch to it. I just like it a little more well done. So if you like it pillowy.
No, I think that's what that is. Mm-hmm. It's a pillowy, soft, oily. They put a ton of olive oil on it. That's it.
That's it.
You like crunchy bread.
I like a little crunch to it.
But it's definitely worth a trip.
And hello about the food too. Anchovies.
Oh yeah, we brought
home. Everywhere.
They're everywhere. So we got a thing of anchovies under salt
in a big glass jar,
and that's what they're famous for there as well. So we'll be making different things all winter with that.
Mm-hmm.
But again,
we did. We just had a little bruschetta or a little toast with butter and the anchovies.
It was really good.
Perfect.
But definitely take a boat ride of some sort. We saw goats grazing on these hill goats that were like on the side of the hill grazing.
Just on the cliffs to the sea. It was crazy. I kept going, where are they going?
We saw the captain who was born and raised there. He pointed out Marco. He pointed out where the abandoned vines are in between the towns. That they abandoned the vines because there was no money in making wine, and they're trying to get money to revive these. And you can see the terraced land, and you can see some of the poles still from where they had the vines.
Plus, just being on the water at sunset, it's nice.
I'll
give a
really
shout
nice.
out. Rosa dei Venti boat tours. You can find him. Google him.
Google him. He's out of Monte Rosso, no?
No, Levanto.
It was out of Levanto. Okay.
And definitely worth it. Exactly. So the Cinque Terre was lovely. Do you think we'll go back? Was it worth the hype? Oh, silence on both. Okay, so moving right along. We did enjoy it. We checked it off the list. If we went back or we were going to northern Italy and wanted to stop around there, I mean, listen, we were super pumped about Carrara, but you could tell that we were like, all right, saw the Cinque Terre. That was cool.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. If it's on your butt, it's all Instagram photos. Like, if you want to go there and to take a photo of the famous little lagoony, thing in where was that was that was Vernazza. Yeah, then go.
It's pretty.
It's pretty. There's lots of pretty.
But like you just said, there's lots of pretty places in Italy. On the way home, we thought, well, let's just break up the drive. It was a little too early to hit up that lunch spot in Carrara, so trust me, it was considered. So we stopped in Lucca, another place we've never been to.
Lucca they had money. Whoever back in the day, when they were building that place, they had money because their wall around that city is phenomenal.
Yes, totally intact. I've never seen one like this.
It is huge. It is wide, the top of it, and there is 100 meters of like
swathed
open grassland before the road where you picture like, was there a moat there at one time? Was there like defense there?
The grass around it sets it off for some reason. It's really cool.
It's gorgeous, and you can get bikes and bike around the top of the wall, and it was packed as well.
Lucca was packed. Cinque Terre is. Jason keeps saying it was packed, but that is just his.
Then I wouldn't want to go. If it was any more people, I wouldn't want to go.
It's that we're so used to living so deep in the countryside without anyone that to me, I know it wasn't packed. People talked about you couldn't even get off the train.
Well, think of when you were hiking on the trails. There's some places where two people cannot fit. Going, if you meet another person, one person has to wait for the other to pass. There's a lot of places like that. And if there was a bunch of people, you would just wait. You'd
have to have reservations at every restaurant because they're tiny. Like, I know it would have been a whole different thing, but Lucca was packed.
It was packed. Beautiful. Tons of, every piazza had another church. They're all made out of marble. It was gorgeous.
We stumbled upon the best pizza I've ever had in Italy.
Yeah, not easy to find really good pizza. But
we walked past it, we looked at each other, turned back around, just had a vibe. We weren't even really that hungry, but it was like there's something about this place.
Let's split a piece of pizza.
Hole in the wall, tiny.
It was awesome.
It's like if we ever opened a pizza place, it's kind of the look I would go for.
It's some of the best pizza we've had.
Oh my God! After we got home, like a week later, Jason was like, do you want to go back to Lucca? And I was like, can you not stop thinking about that pizza either?
Like, no. It's just...
But Lucca was great. We will definitely go back. We'll rent the bikes. That's one to spend the whole day and evening and be there for a night or two.
You can spend a night or two. And I'm sure around Lucca there's probably tons of stuff to see as well.
So that was great. And came home. And then shortly after that, my girlfriend, who I grew up with, who lives in France, came down for a few nights with her husband and daughter, which was it meant we needed to clean a room. It meant it was just so nice having someone here.
It was nice getting the house kind of a little bit prepared. Mm-hmm. And it's fun to play tourist in our own area because we don't really do
we only do it when the friends and family are here.
Yeah, we don't do the touristy bit in our area. So it was nice. Went to the sea one day. We went to the mountains, saw wild horses, showed them.
And then, like a freaking switch, the weather flipped. So we had warm, gorgeous September, and then right at that last week of September, we went to rain.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we got it all in.
We got about 10 days of good rain, and what's today? 17? Oh, not bad. It's a little windy out of
Yeah, it's been pretty warm. It hasn't gotten cold. The evenings aren't too bad for the time of year and the wet weather we're having, but we could use it, and it's nice. Stacking wood.
Starting to stack wood. The pool's covered. The garden, we're starting to pick up the garden because tomatoes died a few weeks ago. There's nothing out there. So getting the poles down, picking up the irrigation system because you don't need irrigation if it rains all the time for the cabbages.
You went up on the roof, which sounds like, yeah, great. Okay. our house is pretty tall.
Went up on the roof.
Our house is pretty tall.
Fix some shit. It's a big deal. You have to get out this super long ladder. You take and if you fall, you die. So there's that too.
There's that. I told him because I had to hold the ladder on the inside. There's a window on the 3rd floor at the top that you have to climb a ladder straight up, and I'm waiting there to make sure when he's ready to come back. I told him, listen, if you fall, make sure to scream. So I know, no silent deaths here. You've got to scream so I know that you fall off the roof and I can come and call 911, and they takes them an hour to get here. But you had to go fix some little, what would you call that?
It was like the cap for one of the vents on the roof broke, and with the rains coming, wanted to make sure we plug that. Nothing big, but getting on the roof is a big deal around here.
I know. Speaking of big deal turds, I wrote...
So we need to get back to work because Ashley has become a turd investigator. It's ridiculous. Every morning when she goes and opens the chicken, she comes back with her turd report.
I can't stop. I both can't stop laughing or investigating. It's true. Part of it is because I'm looking for predators who are trying to attack the chickens and identify what animal it is. But every once in a while, you get a few turds that you find there. You're like, whoa, Jason, you got to come check this thing out.
She thinks that it's directed towards her because it's either right in front of the door to the chicken coop or on the stairs, the little 4 stairs she has to walk down. She's
It's a direct message.
It's a direct message. They're sending messages.
I know.
Look at this. It's got berries in it. Where they find berries?
Oh my God. So that's what happens when I don't have guests to keep me entertained.
Speaking of berries, that's a good transition. Good berry year this year. We have
Yeah, it was.
Here we have what's called Fruta di Bosco, which is like berries of the woods, fruit of the woods, and we have one main type, more or blackberries.
Like blackberries.
And they did pretty well this year.
Yeah, and we actually had time to go and get them.
Yeah.
So I would go out, a couple times a week and collect my little...
So Ashley has a little girl's pail, like you would take to the beach. Like,
some guest left it behind.
Yeah, it's got like unicorns and like seahorses on it.
Yeah.
And it's a little kid's pail. She fills that up halfway and comes back and is proud doggy.
Very proud.
She's like, look at all the berries I got. This is so awesome. Look at them. The other morning, we're driving down the road and the oldies squad was out. Now, what's the oldies squad? Well, there is a squad of retired older people who come through and take all the whatevers.
They like clean through like freaking ants or something.
They're really
like
good.
Carpenter ants.
They're organized. They're knowledgeable. They have a lot of time, and they have homemade tools like claws with buckets under them, and they can come through an area and get all of them in a very short amount of time. So we're going down, and we're coming down the road, and this one lady is walking up the road, and she has
How old?
Late 70s,
yeah.
Gotta be. She's got a 20-liter or 5-gallon bucket just brimming full, and Ashley's mouth drops, and I go, you are not...
You said I should be ashamed of myself.
You should be ashamed of yourself. Look at that.
My sad little sand bucket that I take out compared to this 5-gallon bucket that was freaking overflowing.
Yeah.
And then for days, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Going, where did she go?
She just out-hustled you.
Oh, my God. That's what he kept saying.
She out-hustled you. So not only they get the oldie squad will get Fruta di Bosco, they'll come through and get the wild strawberries, they'll come through and get all the walnuts. But there's a walnut, like a grove of walnut trees. They'll come through and get all the mushrooms. Like they will come through and they're just machines. We didn't get enough to make jam or anything or marmalade.
No, but just for some desserts and
I've got enough in the freezer.
Pancakes and things like that.
But the oldie squad.
But I was put to shame for sure.
Autumn also brings the hunters back. We wake up in most mornings to hearing gunshots and hearing rickety 4x4s going down the road at early morning hours.
Oh, yeah. Well, and in anticipation / a preemptive thank you to start hunting season, Gaggi and his buddy Claudio, who they come over basically every morning.
Well, 5 or 6 mornings a
What's
week.
basic out of 7? So that's basically every morning.
Yeah. They're here before sunrise for their coffee and just a little
Bullshit,
chiacchiere.
yeah. And then afterwards, on their way back to talk about how it actually went or to argue.
Well, I love it. Now, you might say, do you really want 2 hunter guys in your house at 6:30 every morning? I like it. I'm an early person. I like seeing them go out.
What's also kind of funny is Claudio is like a neat freak, and he comes in and my hair's all crazy. Like, we're just in pajamas and stuff, and he will be like in the full outfit, not a thread out of place.
Well, what I didn't realize is hunting gear, like the clothes they wear, are super. It's like ski gear. It's super expensive and it's really nice. Mm-hmm. And he will freak out if he gets this stuff muddy. And it's like, dude, you're going hunting. You're chomping through the woods for like 4 hours. What do you mean you don't want to get muddy? What are you talking about? But he'll come in the morning with it like did you press that stuff?
Exactly.
What's going on? So he's a nice guy, and he wanted to throw a little preemptive thank you because he knows they're going to be here for the next 3 months. Busting balls.
He said that when he comes over every once in a while with a friend, like to go mushroom hunting and stuff, and he'll pass by to say hi, and he'll talk about coming over here in the morning to his buddies, and says how the first few times he would say to Gaggi, like, we shouldn't go. It's so early. It's 6-something in the morning, and they just finished their season of guests, and Gaggi would always tell me, no, they like it. They like it. But yes, they wanted to make us a fish feast since they live on the coast.
And he made brodetto, which is our like a fish stew, like a fish soup, but not as much. It's not soupy. There's liquid to it, but it's not a soup.
And he was doing the rustita, the grilled fish, and that's all we wanted. But because Gaggi's bebe Gaggi, we needed to have pasta.
Because God knows you need 3 courses, not 2. Which reminds me of a couple of great Gaggi stories. If this wouldn't be a podcast without
we got to rip on Gaggi.
Ripping on Gaggi a little bit. Gaggi's our adopted Italian papa, and he busts our balls all the time, so it's time so we can bust his a little bit too. Gaggi's hysterical because for 2 things recently. One, we needed backpacks to light backpacks. We don't have like a day light backpack to take on this walking Cinque Terre.
Exactly.
Thing. So I know he's a hunter. He's got to have 100 backpacks. I go, do you have any like a light one to bring over? He's like, I got backpacks. Comes over a couple days later with a box. Like there's like 8 of them in there.
A couple days later, he came back the same night.
Did he?
He was like obsessed with the backpacks. Yeah.
Anyway, he's got like 8 of them in there, and
half of them have tags on it
still tags on them. And he's like, take a backpack. All right, we'll take a backpack. Well, one of them.
So I pick one, and then he's like, pick 2. You need 2 backpacks. So it's like, great, all right, whatever. He's like, I never use these. Take the backpacks. Great, we take the backpacks.
So in one of the backpacks, we're emptying it out, and we find all this crap in there, and it's from. This one was never put on, really. It's one of those freebie ones from the 36th Congresso Nazionale di Cardiologia, Firenze, 1 through 4 Giugno 2005. So Timio Gaggi.
We found this badge.
He found his badge. We found an expired packet of whatever pills they were hawking at this thing.
That pens. The Congresso was 2005. The pills expired in 2008.
Yep, and
the pens had run out of ink years ago as well.
So obviously this backpack was never put on again.
No, we just thought it was funny.
So we thought it was funny.
Oh, and of course, a pack of tissues.
And a pack of tissues. This wouldn't be. You couldn't get a gift bag without a pack of tissues. So next time Gaggi comes over, I'm like, tell me about this. What was this? Tell me all about it. He goes, he sits back. Gets a glint in his eye. He goes, ragazzi, back in the day, being a doctor. The good old days. So back in the day, the pharmaceutical companies would put on what they would call congressos or expos or whatever, and they would take these doctors all over Europe. They'd take them to Greece. They would take them to Florence and put them up in 5-star places. They'd take them to Paris and take them out to dinner, and then
hunting trips
and fishing trips and all this crap, basically kind of like bribing them to use their...
He misses the bribes.
He misses the bribes. He goes, it's not like that anymore, the good old days. Anyway, he tells us the story about not this one that we found the badge for, but another one that they took him to. They took him to France, to Paris. And he said, ragazzi, we stayed at whatever, Louis the 15th hotel, whatever hotel he said. And there was this black tie dinner that all the doctors and their wives went to. And he goes, the French is a first course, the primo, they bring out this giant, he said they bring out giant silver bowls with the shaved ice that's piled in a dome with all the frutti di mare in it. And Gaggi's not a guy to go along to get along. Like, He won't just
No,
sit there
sir.
politely and pretend like he's been there before. No, sir. He tells the waiter, I'm not eating this shit. Listen, take all this raw crap, take it back to the kitchen, cook it, toss it with some pasta, and bring it back out to me. He doesn't want any of the raw fish.
He's a ball buster.
He is a ball buster, even back then. So this was hysterical, him telling us all about the back in the day, good old days, where all these cardiologists sit around in this fancy hotel and smoke cigarettes.
All the cardiologists, which taking him back in time to the good old days reminded him he's going to need to get that backpack back.
Yeah, then at the end he goes, so I'm going to need those backpacks. You got those backpacks? It's like, yeah, here you go. They're yours. But here's the weird part about Gaggi. He wants the backpacks back that he's never worn. But he comes over and goes, my brother's sick. He's not using his car. Here, you take it.
Take the car.
Take a car. I don't want a car. You take it. The insurance is paid for. The road tax is paid for. You just keep it.
Keep it.
Keep it here. Keep it here. You can drive it if you want it. So the car is okay to keep, but the backpack.
Last used in 2005.
I'm going to need those back.
I'm going to need those back. So we made sure to give them back to him. It's not like I was trying to keep them or anything either. It was just, it made me think of my grandpa. It was hilarious. So
it's back to the good old days. Gaggi every morning. I love it.
yes, the lunch was great. The fish was beautiful. And it's always fun to do a little lunch like that. And fun because they brought everything. And Claudio, like we said, is a neat freak. So he had everything like prepped out at home in Tupperware containers.
Yeah, he had his shit together.
All the fish was clean, brought it here, just had to like assemble it. And even through that, Gaggi busted balls. So it was good though.
What do we? Last thing. We had an election here in the 20th.
Yes.
There was a regional elections. I think like 10 regional elections voted, and that's not the point of the story. If you want politics, go online and read about it. But the one thing that's so interesting here is how they campaign.
Still to this day.
To this day. So you don't see like signs on people's driveways or in their houses. All the politicians put up the signs where in like the piazza on like a poster board.
The same place you see like where people died.
Yeah,
The announcements,
for the dead people.
Or it's like on these like mini billboards as you're heading into town.
And nothing really comes out until maybe a week or 10 days before the election. I don't know if that's a rule or a law or what, but you don't see any of it.
Or if it's classic Italian, they just wait till the last minute.
My favorite thing that they do is whether you are in all over La Marche, because we were in Ascoli, a big town, and I saw it in Urbania, is maybe 3 or 4 days leading up, they will either have if you're a candidate with money, you'll get the billboard truck that has the PA on it that announces you're running for candidate.
And a huge billboard on the back. If you don't have as much money, you'll just have a guy in a 4x4 Jeepy looking thing with a sign on the top. But all of them will have the PA that is turned up to 11 just blaring, so you can't understand anything. Please out. Elezione 2020. Voto Giorgio Marconi. They drive super slow. They go through all the neighborhoods and they blare up
this
and down
shit.
the road.
And since it's for each candidate, you'll get like 6 of them because there's not 2 parties in Italy. There's
like
12 or whatever it is. It's hysterical to see. You can't. It's so overmodulated. You can't understand.
I know, and at first
saying.
we're still so, 14 years, but sometimes we're still so green with some of these things or forget. And you'll start to hear the loudspeaker and you're like, what's going on? Is there some like festival thing going on down the road? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, no, split second later, you're like, that's right, elections, get ready for it. Here comes the billboard train of... just them talking over each other, even on the microphone things, overmodulated, like Jason said. And the cheaper ones, it's almost like they just strap a megaphone to the roof or out the window.
Absolutely.
It is homemade for sure.
It's great. So the elections came on the 20th. You can go online and see how Italy changed. But it's
small or big, they go through those towns.
Oh man, it's great to see, and it's such a throwback to me, even to this day. How
I know
they do that.
I love it. Well, that is a good highlight or a good teaser for the next podcast that we do. We'll talk about Ascoli Piceno and San Benedetto.
Next podcast,
That
the
could
last
be-
one we did was the 25th.
I know
of
this
August.
could be leading up to Christmas. I don't know.
All right.
Speaking of Christmas, though, that makes me think of gifts. And I have to say really quickly, a huge, sincere, heartfelt thank you to you guys, you podcast listeners, you wonderful people, not only for listening, but I don't know what it was. We received like a handful of totally unexpected gifts in the mail.
Which are not, please.
I'm not saying this to tell you to send us stuff.
No, it's just appreciated. It's
totally
not necessary.
From like kitchen cooking gadgets to what I was going to say was just a handwritten card.
No, handwritten cards are so nice.
That was, for me, the one, what is it, loosely in England, Sue, it's just so sweet to get a handwritten card.
And Kenny sent me the
Canal forms.
Oh, I think Kenny likes Fat Jason.
He wants Jason fat again. Well, his wish has come true.
Well, Kenny a few years ago sent me the bread forms to get me back into bread, and now he sent me the Canal forms.
Which are gorgeous. And then we had Jody, someone who we were doing the workshops on Move to Italy with, send us, right as we were declaring we need to go on diets, we received a box of cereal.
3 boxes of
cereal and junk food, which
are
was
gone.
amazing.
They're gone.
Oh my God, they were
They're
eaten
gone.
immediately. Jason said, I know what
Please
we're having
don't
for
do
dinner
that.
tonight.
Please don't anyone do that. I don't need sugar cereal in my life. But it was incredible to open up a box and go, like, oh my God.
I mean, there were some beautiful Italy books in there too, but it was definitely the cereal and chips that got our attention. But just wanted to say very unexpected and thank you. So thanks for thinking of us. It's really nice.
What do you got going on for today?
I've been stringing peppers from the garden. I'm trying to. The tomatoes didn't do well, but the peppers did extraordinary. Certain years they don't go all the way to red.
No, this year they did.
They went all the way to red, and we got a lot of peppers. And we've got a ton of the ancho and cayenne, and I already did the jalapenos. So I've been learning to tie them in different ways or to thread
They
them.
look good. Since we don't have guests, I planted a garden thinking we were going to have a whole season of guests. So I have 120 pepper plants. You got to figure out what to do with these.
Seriously, I was like, what are we doing with all these peppers? Because this is a lot of peppers.
And no one wants them. No one wants them. You're like, why wouldn't they want them?
Gaggi thinks they're way too spicy.
He thinks, they want either, people around here either want the long ones, the pepperoni di corne, the long eating peppers.
They're long and light green.
Light green, the square ones, normal bell pepper,
peppers.
Or the long cayenne for spicy ones for that are in Italian cooking. When they see like jalapeno or they see ancho or even sweet peppers that are Hungarian or anything.
Oh yeah, we have the beaver dam.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Oh my gosh, this wasn't even that, like, barely any spice to it. Gaggi comes over the next day and it's like, what are those peppers? What have you done to them? I ate one and had them for dinner. Then later that night I touched my eye and I thought, what a wuss. He's been talking about this pepper forever. It's like, dude, you ain't saying nothing yet. But anyway. Was there anything else?
You're tying up peppers. I got
to tie up the peppers. Oh, and I've been trimming the hedges outside, which is a bit of a process. Trim.
Sounds real interesting.
I know.
Stuff.
Just trying to get the body moving.
Yep, move your body, move your fat body. That's going to be it from us. What do you got to pimp for this week?
Throughout the fall. Oh, things aren't looking so great in the States at times. I would consider our Move to Italy workshop. That's an honest plug right there. The 2021 calendar is also up online, and you can check out all of the cooking workshops. But if you are, in the meantime, over the autumn thinking, what are we going to do? Are we ready for something else in life? Maybe we should move. Why not? Chat with us. We'll give you the inside scoop. Check out the virtual Move to Italy workshops, either the 90-minute call or the 4 calls that are a total of 7 hours. And other than that, kind of just going over the website, making some tweaks, and planning for next year.
There you go. It's at least it's a change of season.
Yes.
Yes.
Hopefully
that will bring better times.
Yes.
All right, very good.
All right, it's time. This was number 2.5 of recording this. I hope we got it.
It's like noon already.
I know. This is crazy. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. Have a good one. You know where to find us, latavolamarque.com. Shoot us a message at info@latavolamarque.com if you want to ask us any questions for the next podcast. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the places at latavolamarque, LATAVOLAMARCHE. And that's it. Have a good one. Ciao, ciao.
Sentire Media.
Hey, podcast producers and show hosts. Do you want to join a podcast network that celebrates all things Italian? At Sentire Media, we understand the allure of Italy and its unique culture. Our devoted team of hosts and producers are all driven by their shared passion for Italy. And we work tirelessly to create the best lifestyle podcasts and content that will whisk you away to the very heart of Italy. With us, you can savor the mouth-watering flavors, get lost in the stories from the past, break down the cultural barriers, and truly immerse yourself in the vibrant traditions of this intoxicating country. If you have a great podcast idea or are already in production and would like to join Sentire Media, head over to sentiremedia.com. That's SENTIRE media.com and find out how to submit your show.